Hello and welcome to this session where we will be discussing the Google Indexing API for SEO. Google Indexing API is a service provided by Google that allows website owners to directly notify Google whenever they have new or updated content on their website or they have newly removed pages. It ensures that Google's index is always kept fresh and up to date about the current state of all of the different pages on that website. So the API allows you to submit requests to Google to initiate the indexing, updating or the removal of URLs, right? And some of its key features is that it enables or it has capabilities that allow for URL submission, URL or page content update notification, removal request, and status monitoring. So in the next video you would watch, I'm going to show you practically how to use a Python script and Google Cloud Console to initiate indexing API calls in order to send indexation requests about URLs and pages. So see you in the next video. So here is a practical session where I'll be showing you how to use the indexing API to improve traffic and keyword rankings and revenue on your website. So in SEO, content cannot rank if it has not yet been indexed. It's like you cannot go to a library to find a book that does not exist on the shelf. So Google's own shelf is its index. Any page that is not in the index is not in the shelf. And if it's not in the shelf, it cannot be found, and therefore it cannot be relevant for any keyword. It cannot contribute to traffic. It cannot contribute to revenue. So for many websites, whenever they have URLs that are crawled, not indexed, or discovered but not indexed, for example, we have some here, 28 of them that are discovered but not yet indexed, meaning that Google found them, Google's aware of them, it hasn't crawled them, it hasn't indexed them. So whenever you have situations like this, it can limit the traffic potential of the website because it doesn't have its pages in the index. Its pages cannot be relevant for any search queries. If they cannot be relevant for any search queries, those pages cannot be mapped to any keywords. If they can't be mapped to any keywords, it's as though those pages do not even exist in the first place and they are offering no value to the website, regardless of the investment in time and effort to create and update the content on those pages. And in many instances, like we can see here, you have about 1,400 URLs that are crawled, not indexed. You can initiate manual indexation requests with Google. So for example, let me filter this list to ensure that no dynamic URLs are present. Does not contain. And now the list has been filtered, so there are no dynamic URLs. Let's see this page, whether it has been indexed or not. As you can see, URL is not on Google, right? But here you can initiate a manual indexing request, and this page is likely to become indexed if you give it a few minutes. But we cannot do that for 1,400 URLs. So that's where the API comes into play. The API allows us to automate the sending out of indexation requests. So this is the Python script that will be used to interact with the Google API. And I've used it in the past. So what you need to do is you need to export all of the URLs that are not yet indexed on your site. Like here, you click on export and export it to Google Sheets. When it's exported, you would have the list available to you, but you cannot paste this list of URLs in the same way they appear here. And you also need to ensure that there are no dynamic URLs in your list because that will waste your API credits. So let's just filter out dynamic URLs. Now there are no dynamic URLs here. Let's filter out paginated pages. So all of the URLs here seem to be largely eligible. Just one last check. Let's look for feed URLs. Okay, let's take these out so that we save our API credits for the day. And now all of these are eligible URLs that should be in the index but are not yet indexed. You cannot paste these URLs as they are within this Python script. Where you have to paste it is here, this section where it says requests. As you can see, I pasted it, but I pasted the URLs in a modified form. They have quotation marks and they have URL updated. So to get the URLs to appear in this form, you can do it manually or in an automated way. So for example, you can give the list to ChatGPT, give this list and tell ChatGPT, I want this list of URLs to come out looking like this. That's one way. A second way to do it is to use, which I'm going to make available to you, use this Google Sheets. There's a formula across column B. The formula concatenates all of the URLs in column A with quotation marks and a URL updated string. So you just have to paste your URLs here. They will be concatenated with this updated string, and then you just have to copy what is here, open a new tab and paste it with values only so that you don't take the formula along, and then you copy the URLs as they appear here and you can come and paste them in here. So that's what I did, and that's why you can see all of these URLs appearing here. So the next thing we need to do is that we need to get our Google service account. So that is in the Google service account that we are going to get access to our JSON key file, and the JSON key file contains the API key that will allow us to interact with the Search Console database in order to initiate the indexation request. So to get the API key, you would need to visit Google Cloud Console. So just type Google Cloud Console. Then when you get in, you would most likely need to create a project. Just go to I am admin, and if you don't already have a project, you will need to create a project. So you can see here I already have a project, but if you don't have a project, what you do is you create a new project, you give it a name, a descriptive name. You can name it indexation requests tutorial, and that's it. Wait for the project to be created. Once the project has been created, then the next step is to select it, and then you click on service accounts here. You have to then create a service account. So it's a service account you create that will give you access to the API key that you require to run the script. So click create service account. Give your service account a name. Give it a description. You click create and continue. Select a role, and I think ideally the role should be owner so that you have full permissions, and then you click on done if you don't want to assign access to other users. And now you have a service account. So this email is important. You have to copy this email here and give it ownership access in Search Console. So we go back into Search Console, we go to settings, we click on users and permissions, add the user, and we give it ownership access. So the service account needs ownership access to be able to operate. And now it's an owner. And now you come back into Cloud Console. In the same service account interface, you click on these three dots here and click on Manage Keys. And then you have to create an API key. So create a new key, select JSON, the recommended key type, click Create. And once you click Create, a JSON file will be downloaded onto your system. And that's it. So you now have an API key. So what's required now is to upload that JSON file into the file section of Colab. So you click on upload, and now that JSON file has been uploaded. What's required next is to ensure that the file name of this JSON file matches the file name with which it is being referenced here. So what we need to do here is to click on rename, copy the file name, and then paste it in here. And after pasting it in here, that's all that is required of you. You can then click on runtime and run all. So let's click on runtime, run all. And now the script has completed its execution, but surprisingly, it did not work. It gave me an error here, as you can see, HTTP error 403 when requesting, and it's saying that the web search indexing API has not been used in the project I created. It has not yet been used before, or it is disabled. So Colab is telling me to enable the API by going to this URL. So when you go to that URL, you would see the project. In this case, this was our project, and we can see that the API has not yet been enabled. In past projects that I had here, you would see that there is no option to enable API because it's already enabled. So let's enable it for the existing project. And now it's an enabled API. So let's go back here, click on runtime and run all. And now the script has completed its operations, and you can see URL notification. It's showing us that all of these URLs have been submitted to the indexing API. So it means that all of these URLs at one go are now in the queue for indexing. So we would just need to go and come back, and after a few days, all of the pages that have been crawled but not yet indexed would finally get indexed. So that's how to use the Google Indexing API to initiate indexing requests at scale. And as all those pages get indexed, these reports, you see progressively the number of unindexed pages would begin to decline. So I hope you find it useful in your SEO practice.